ladies and gentlemen. Bowmaster619 here. It is currently 6:53 in colorful Colorado. And I have no idea how long this live stream is going to be able to last because I'm not sure how good the service is up here along I-70. But I am currently on my way home from an all-day hike that took place up in Frisco along the Meadow Trailhead. Something like that. I just can't remember the exact name. I apologize for that. But it was a heck of a fun hike. I am thoroughly exhausted. It was with Cattail Bob. He was the... hello, Tessa Calloway. Nice to see you here. He was the teacher of the class. And I purchased 2 books from him, Volume 1 and Volume 2. I might go ahead and show those if I do a Monday story time tomorrow. If I do one, I'll probably go ahead and show you those books and maybe read a few sections out of them if you guys are interested in hearing about that. I'm hoping this is not an exit only here. I don't think... No, it's not. Okay, I'm good. You're going to see me doing that a lot because I'm going down through the mountains right now, and anyone who drives through mountain territory, you know that that your ears pop. Had to come in and show some support. Love you, Bowmaster, you rock. Thank you very much, Tessa, and I hope things are going better for you as well. I saw your Facebook post. I have not had any time to actually comment on it, but I hope things are going much better for you than they have been lately. So there is a shout out to Tessa and of course Zomblue. Be sure to check out Zomblue's channel. They have a few different videos with their goofy little dogs. Boople Snoot, I believe, is one of their names. I apologize for not remembering, but I'm terrible with names to begin with. My ears are popping like crazy. Let's not talk about that right now. Talk more about your cool hiking books. Fair enough. Well, they're not necessarily hiking books. They're actually books that are talking all about plants in the Colorado Rockies. And they do, of course, it's just Boople Snoot, you got it right. Okay, I'm glad I got it right. I just passed a poster with a picture of Abraham Lincoln on it. Anyway, the books are 2 volumes, which equate to nearly 500 different plants. And I have mushroom books. Cool. We passed a couple of very small mushrooms, but up at this elevation, I don't think that mushrooms really grow all that terribly much up here, unless, of course, you include lichen, which I believe lichen is a type of fungus. I'm not quite as well versed in that as I would like to be, but I'm fairly certain that lichen is a type. Well, lichen is a type of moss. It might be a type of fungus as well, I'm not sure. But basically, it covers numerous different plants all along the Rockies, specifically here in Colorado. It covers the edible ones, it covers medicinal, it covers poisonous, it covers woodcraft, and it covers... I know there's a 5th subject, but I can't think of it right now. My brain is so fried. I'm sorry. Oh my god. I literally just drove past one of my favorite spots along I-70, and that is where you have High Range Dispensary right next to Beaver Liquors. And yes, that is a liquor store for alcohol. Oh my god, that's one of my favorite parts to drive past up here. It is so hilarious. They grow up there. Lichen is not fungi, though. Good evening, Wesley Schultner? I apologize. I am terrible with pronunciation to begin with, so I apologize if I completely butchered your name. But yes, they are two books. One is more of the beginner's book, as he called it, and the other is the more advanced book. But they cover almost 500 different plants here in Colorado. And there are numerous. I actually found out, for those of you that know a little bit about survival and a little bit about edible plants, let me see if I can raise that up to kind of get rid of the sun glare. That's about as high as I can go, unfortunately. Yes, you do. Yes, I do what? But for those of you that know, willow contains a type of chemical. I cannot remember the name. It's a type of acid, I believe. I'm from Denver. Well, welcome to the show. Hello, fellow Coloradan. But willow contains a chemical that is essentially a natural occurring aspirin. And I found out that aspen and cottonwood also has that exact same chemical in the bark. So if you happen to be up in the woods and you get yourself a headache or you get some muscle pains or anything of that sort, you can actually make a tea out of some of the bark from aspen, cottonwood, or willow. Make a nice hot tea out of it, and you can drink that down, and it will actually act basically the exact same as aspirin, ibuprofen, or acetaminophen will. And here's another very interesting thing that I learned today. Elderberry, specifically the kind that grows up here in the Rockies, our Colorado elderberry is actually mildly toxic. So if you do see elderberry, you can eat it in very small amounts, but because of the fact that it is toxic, it's better to just leave that one alone, actually. Now, I learned about numerous plants today. I think we covered close to probably 60, 70 plants in total. Covered a lot. But a lot of them were actually berries. I learned about the twinberry, buffalo berry, serviceberry, the kinnikinick berry. Are we back? Yes, David, that is a very good point, and that is one thing to wild plants. If you don't know it, matter of fact, we covered several different plants that are in the carrot family of all things, and there's actually one that is, I believe, called hemlock parsley, which is very similar to a poisonous hemlock, which is in lower elevations. They look very similar, and you do not want to eat the poisonous hemlock because, well, obviously it's poisonous. But hemlock parsley is one that is a very similar look-alike, but is edible. You really need to be able to differentiate between the two of them before you try and attempt to eat them. We also learned about fireweed, bluebell, several different kinds of mustard, including bittercrest, which was actually fairly good. It had a very similar taste to horseradish. We learned about bluebell, which, according to Cattail Bob, the leaves on there taste very similar to mushroom, which I myself am allergic to mushrooms, so I couldn't tell you whether or not they do taste like mushroom or not, but they do have a very interesting taste. You know, so at least there's that. Trying to think of some of the other ones that we learned. Oh, we also found huckleberry. What's the difference between those two? What? The berries itself, the color in the leaves. Are you talking about the difference between hemlock parsley and the more poisonous hemlock? I believe the lower the simple fact is that the hemlock parsley grows at much higher elevations than the poisonous parsley, if I remember correctly. And the higher elevation hemlock parsley is actually a bit smaller than the one that grows at lower elevations. Overall, though, unless you can positively ID the two of them apart, don't get them. Just don't do it. We also found a heck of a lot of cow parsnip, is what it's called. And it is another member of the carrot family. They have very large leaves, a hollow stem, and umbricus? I'm going to have to look this up when I actually read through the book tomorrow if I get to do a Monday story time. But they have leaves that look similar to an umbrella. And cow parsnip, the roots themselves can actually be used to help with acid reflux and heartburn. Ooh, another one we learned was holly grape. Holly grapes are actually quite tasty. They're very small berries. Basically, all of the berries that we found up there were pretty small. But they were small, they were fairly sour. They were all in season, thankfully. They have a very distinct leaf. And also, I totally forgot about this when we were doing our little test on the walk back, but the root of the holly grape is yellow, if I remember correctly, and you can actually use it as a mild water purifier. If you shave the root down, green pathogens. It won't kill off all of them by any means, so if you have a water filter or if you have a fire and a means to boil it, then obviously you want to do that. Excuse me, I'm trying to get my ears to pop. But if you have no other way to disinfect your water, you can use holly grape, the roots of it, to actually help purify some of your drinking water. That is very bright right in your face. We are currently passing Idaho Springs, and if, for one, I had the time, and if, two, I knew for a fact that they were actually still open, I would stop at Indian Hot Springs and take a nice hot soak in one of their private hot springs. And I can tell you, a nice soak in a natural hot spring is so wonderful. Spring, try and go to one. It is an experience. Another fun fact about Idaho Springs, as we are passing it, is that is the home of the Tommyknocker Brewery. So if you have ever gotten a chance to try Tommyknockers, Idaho Springs here in Colorado is where it is located. And they have some very good beers. They also have some damn good food in the restaurant, too. Oh. The last time me and my friends came up here to Breckenridge, that was with Lord Mechanicus and David, also known as Monkey. He is actually in the chat right now, I believe, possibly. We stopped at Tommyknockers on the way home and had quite a good feast there, as well as got to sample some of their fine brews. God dang my ears. Now, for me personally, it can sometimes be a bit of a challenge to find a decent microbrewery that I actually enjoy. Tommyknockers is definitely on that list, though. You know, because I've been to a few different microbreweries across Colorado, and some are most definitely better than others. I mean, there are some that are quite popular throughout Colorado, but as far as me personally, I'm just not a big fan. Like Left Hand Brewing Company is actually a very good example of that. Now, their beers aren't bad, but they are definitely not my all-time favorite by any means. Do I ever litter? Hell no, I don't litter. Every bit of trash that I had up there from my lunch day up on the trail, I kept it with me, and I will dispose of it properly as soon as I get to a trash can. But no, I thoroughly hate litter bugs. I despise people who litter in the wild. Now, in the event of a survival situation of some kind, if you happen to get into one of those for whatever reason, one man's trash is another man's treasure is something that definitely brain fart correlates. Thank you. Correlates with people who litter. I mean, it's not a good thing to litter. It never is. That's very bad. That's why some of our planet is dying, quite frankly. But if you're in a survival situation, if you can find some different kinds of trash or debris that are around, that can actually help you out. I carry doggy poop to throw my trash away in. I can dispose of it properly when I get home. Good. Thank you for not polluting the wild. I mean, I always try to carry a couple of plastic bags on me whenever I go hiking, camping, or fishing anyhow. Sometimes I forget, quite frankly, but if I do have any kind of trash, unless it is biodegradable, such as Kleenex, paper towels, toilet tissue, something that'll break naturally in the wild anyway, I always bring it with me. I mean, if you're going to attempt to try and carry your poop toilet paper with you, I guess I give you credit, but that's just a little too far. Well, I heard if you use a fish bone, the whole skeleton bone of the face, you could use that for fertilizing the ground, squirrel plants. What about a straw wrapper at the drive-thru window? Say poopies. What about a straw wrapper at the drive-thru window? I'm not entirely sure what you're getting at here, but I suppose if you see it there, then pick it up and throw it away. But if you're asking, do I just throw my straw wrappers out the window? Oh, that's okay. No, I do not do that. Any trash that I have, like especially if I'm in my car or something, I've got a trash bag that I throw it all into. And then I dispose of the trash later once the bag is full. As far as just randomly throwing stuff out the window, no, I don't do that. This hilly country wreaks havoc on your ears, the constantly changing pressure. And if I get to do story time tomorrow, I also have a very special treat for myself to indulge in when I'm reading. What, David? I don't know what you're talking about. If you're asking about whatever it was that I said when I read your last comment, learn how to freaking type properly so I can know what you're trying to say. Oh, boy. My little Toyota is getting a real workout on these mountain roads. I am constantly having to drop gears along these hills here. And any Denver Bronco fans here? Me personally, I'm not a fan. So if you're going to be asking questions about the Broncos season, I really couldn't tell you. Trying to get around you, bro. I must say, though, I am very pleased in how well my little car is doing up here in the mountains, actually. Yes, I'm having to constantly drop gears so I can actually get up over some of these hills, but it is handling surprisingly well. And gas mileage, I cannot argue with the gas mileage the car gets. Let's see. Sports ball? I'm not sure what sports ball is. I mean, unless you're saying like as a generality of sports that involve balls, don't really care for it. Wait until you visit the Springs. I just love the game. I've never been a fan of sports. I mean, David, you already know this about me, of course. But me personally, I've never been a fan of sports. I've just never really seen the point. And I'm trying to get that 100 subscriber milestone so I can come visit the Springs. And holy crap, now we're on a downhill grade. It's a general name for all sports that involve balls. Fair enough. And yeah, for that general consensus, I guess sports balls, I don't really care for it either. Yeah, that's just me personally. Though I will fully admit, and I've said this in a few other videos, the last Super Bowl that happened, I think it was the Patriots versus the Eagles. I honestly can't remember. All I know is that the last one that took place, that's the only football game I've actually watched from beginning to end that wasn't like a high school event. And I will fully admit, I actually did enjoy watching that one. That was actually entertaining. Especially the look on Brady's face when he fumbled. Oh, the memes went nuts after that. And I did wind up working the entire 2013 home season of the Denver Nuggets back when I used to work for Argus. And yep, some sports are much better to watch in person than they are on TV. But me. I mean, that's why I find it hilarious when I see those posts on here for the next 5 years, and you get X amount of it, you can never watch football again. Could you do it? It's like, I don't want you to begin with. Sign me up. Oh, random headache just sank in. I think quite possibly I'm pretty sure I know I'm dehydrated. And I'm also probably just hungry. I have a hungry headache. I haven't eaten since about noon, so. Yes, overall today was a heck of a lot of fun. It was definitely well worth coming up here to do the hike. You get to meet new people, you get to learn a lot of new stuff, and you really don't notice just how much of this stuff there is until someone blatantly points it out to you. Another one that we saw a lot of up there today actually was wild rose. And with the rose, of course, comes the rose hip, which, if I remember correctly from what Cattail Bob said, the rose hip has the highest concentration of vitamin C out of any plants in the entire world. And there were wild rose hips everywhere on the trail. Some of them more ripe than others, no doubt about that. And one thing to know is you never want to eat the seeds from the wild rose hip. I may have said this earlier in the stream, come to think of it, but never hurts to touch on it again. Don't eat the seeds out of the rose hip because they contain little hairs, which is one of the key ingredients in itching powder. So as you can imagine, if you wind up swallowing those things down, you're going to have a pretty nasty time. Whew. Pretty much. Pressure change and dehydration. Yep, probably. I mean, I tried my best to drink plenty of water on the trail, but considering we were constantly moving and there wasn't exactly a lot of time to pull over and take a leak, you know, it was like, well, I'm not going to drink too much because I don't want to have to constantly be saying, oh, sorry, gotta go water a tree, be right back. All right, we've been going for about a little over 25 minutes. And I'm probably going to have to check my GPS soon just to make sure I know 100% where exactly I am going. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I will go ahead and be posting some videos a little bit later on. Well, not videos, excuse me. I'm going to be posting a few pictures. Thank you very much. I wish we could go on a mushroom plant hike soon. That would be a lot of fun. That would be a heck of a lot of fun. And since I got the books, I could probably tell you a few of the different plants that are on there. Have a great night, everyone. You as well, Wesley. Thank you very much for joining us. So yes, thank you everybody so much for watching. Thank you for joining me tonight. I know it's been a little bit since I've been able to really start putting videos out there, but once I get some personal things taken care of, I will get back into editing. And I will get some of my Spirit Saturdays episodes uploaded for you guys. Hopefully stay tuned tomorrow for an episode of Storytime Monday nights. Drive safe. Thank you very much. Until next time, this is Bowmaster619 out. As always, drive safe, stay safe, never stop learning, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.